Once upon a twinkle-lit midsummer night, when fireflies wrote glowing poems in the air and the moon smiled a silvery crescent grin, the royal garden behind the palace sparkled with secret whispers. Because tonight was no ordinary night, was the night of the Midsummer Forest Drama, a magical play performed once a year by the mysterious Woodland Theatre Troupe, and only in front of those with the kindest hearts and the wildest imaginations. And as it happened, no heart was kinder or imagination wilder than that of Prince Ahmed, young royal known across the land not just for his shiny crown and clever mind, but for the way he treated snails like royalty and listened to trees like old friends. He had never missed a single forest drama. Not ever. Not even the year he had the sniffles and had to wear a nose cozy. This year, however, something very strange was afoot. Prince Ahmed stood at the edge of the royal garden, wearing his favorite velvet cloak, holding his golden acorn lantern and peering into the dark forest beyond the willow trees. He murmured, tapping his chin thoughtfully. Where were the fairy posters? Where were the singing mushrooms warming up their voices? And why, oh why, was the air so quiet you could almost hear the moon blink? Suddenly, from behind a thistle bush, there came a frantic rustling. Out tumbled Marzipan the mole, wearing a tiny headset and dragging a scroll longer than a laundry line. Her spectacles were fogged and her whiskers wiggled in a panic. "Prince Ahmed," she gasped. "It's a disaster, a drizzly, dramatic, dreadful disaster." Ahmed knelt down. "Marzipan, what's wrong? The script has vanished. The play is in 1 hour, and without the magical midsummer script, nothing happens. No firefly lighting, no owl orchestra, no enchanted applause," she sniffled. "It's never ever happened before." Prince Ahmed's eyes twinkled. "Then it sounds like we have ourselves a mystery." With no time to lose, the prince set off into the forest, Marzipan beside him, scroll dragging through the clover. They passed the flower dancers, twirling in confusion. The ladybug costumers sat sadly with unfinished skull capes. Even the snail choir was too glum to hum. It was a forest full of frowns. But Prince Ahmed wouldn't let the drama be ruined. "Let's follow the trail," he said, squinting at a suspicious line of glitter leading into the thicker woods. "If this isn't fairy dust, I'll eat my boot." Through tangled vines and glowing toadstools they went, past murmuring willows and sleepy raccoons until they reached the giggly Glida clearing, known for contagious laughter and secret storytelling. And right in the middle stood a fox wearing a crown made of dandelions. Foxford, Prince Ahmed called, "Have you seen a scroll around here?" Foxford the fox bowed dramatically. "I have seen something scroll-shaped and mystery-smelling, but I traded it." Marzipan squeaked. "Indeed," Foxford said, twirling his whiskers, "a grumpy goblin gave me the scroll in exchange for 3 riddles to mint leaves and a promise not to peek inside." "Who would want the script and not peek?" Ahmed asked, suspicious. Foxford shrugged. He muttered something about writing himself a starring role. Terribly impatient fellow, wore mismatched socks and smelled like swamp pickles. Aha, cried Marzipan Gibble, the goblin. He's always trying to turn everything into a one-goblin show. Well, Imad said, I think it's time we paid Mr. Gibble a visit. They ventured deeper still, until the air grew thick with mystery and moss. At last, they reached the crooked hollow, where mushrooms whispered secrets, and the trees leaned in like gossiping ants. There, under a crooked mushroom umbrella, was Gibble the goblin, holding the very scroll in his stubby fingers and cackling to himself. Yes, yes. Scene 1. Gibble enters on a flying turtle to thunderous applause. Scene 2. Gibble saves the day with a potato wand. Scene 3. Gibble wins the forest crown. Yes, Imad stepped forward. Gibble, my friend, I believe you have something that belongs to the entire forest. Gibble squeaked and hid the scroll behind his back. Nope, not me. I'm just rehearsing my sneeze soliloquy. We need the real story, Imad said gently. The forest needs its midsummer magic, Gibble sighed. But I always get cast as Mossy Rock number 2 or Swamp Wind. I just wanted one real part. Imad tilted his head. Then let's rewrite it together. Gibble blinked. What will make this year's drama our story? A real midsummer mystery. And you, Gibble, can play the goblin who saves the show. Gibble's eyes glistened. Me, a hero, with a potato wand, Imad smiled. In a flurry of fairy dust and excitement, the scroll was rewritten by moonlight, with help from the snail script editors and the owl proofreaders. The sunbeam fairies sprinkled scene changes into the sky, and the mushroom spotlights adjusted their glow. That night, just as the moon hit its highest note, the forest gathered beneath the glowing vines of the twilight stage. The trumpets tooted, the curtain of leaves rose, and the most spectacular, sparkly, sensational Midsummer Night's drama began. There were twists, there were giggles, there were mushrooms that danced in hats, and when Gibble the goblin waddled on stage and declared, "Let the magic of midsummer bloom again," the forest erupted in the loudest enchanted applause ever heard. Backstage, Marzipan wiped her eyes with a leaf. "It's perfect," she whispered, after the final bow, as the fireflies painted thank you in the sky and sleepy flowers clapped their petals. Prince Ahmad stood center stage and said, "Magic doesn't come from perfect lines or fancy scenes. It comes from helping each other shine." The forest cheered. The stars twinkled extra bright